Now things were picking up the pace. John and Bernard were rushing. Unfortunately, they were rushing into a museum. John felt this was not really the sort of place you usually went when running away from, well, he didn't know who they were running away from, but, running, he expected to be running to a more precise location, less of a fuzzy, kind of fuzzy, old, little bit ditzy, like Bernard. That's how he viewed the museum at the moment. He might have been a little bit harsh because he was in a little bit of a bad mood. But, who can blame him? It was a tough day for him. He'd been happily gone into a house. He just wanted to get a watch valued. That's all he wanted. All he wanted was to get a watch valued. Well, he was about to get it valued, because that's why they were at the museum. Bernard rushed through the display cases, security guards looking on, slightly puzzled and annoyed. But he hadn't actually done anything yet, plus he was an old guy. Security guards feel bad about tackling old guys to the ground because that's somehow considered wrong. It's amazing what Bernard had learned he could get away with since he got the grey hairs. Anyway, he came to a display case on Italy. And he started looking through stuff, particularly a manuscript in one corner. Now when I say a manuscript, it's actually a little bit more modern than that, because we're in a museum that dealt with modern history. And looking at this, he looked at it, he leaned against the glass, pressed his nose a little tighter, it squished up against it. The security guards looked at each other, pretty sure he wasn't allowed to be doing that. Hesitantly, one of them starts to move towards him, when Bernard shouts, a little too loudly for John's taste, "Bugger!" People freeze. John tries to pretend he's not with Bernard. It is unsuccessful. One cannot pretend you're not with someone. When you've walked in with them, you're standing by them, and in a second, when they walk off, you will walk off with them too, which John did. The security guards smirked at each other and let them be. It was clear that they were leaving now. They weren't going to be an issue anymore. "What the hell was that all about?" John whispered to Bernard. This was pointless, as with that kind of a whisper, particularly an angry whisper, everyone can hear you. "Well, that's very simple," said Bernard. "We were trying to find out the simplest bit of information, but as usual, it was an absolute waste of time. Do you know what? If you want to find out something, go to the source of the issue." "The source of the issue?" said John. "That's right," said Bernard. "We're going to Italy. Rome."